Ladies and gentlemen, Moose Knuckle Entertainment and HIAC Talk Radio present Just in America, World's Greatest American. And now your host, the Dean of Credibility, Dean Dixon.
Hi, I'm the Dean of Credibility, Double D. You might know me from HIAC Talk Radio. Well, I'm proud to introduce to you a new series that we are here doing, and it's called Just in America, World's Greatest American. And over the course of the next few weeks, we're going to be discussing what made Just in America the greatest American in all of professional wrestling. And what I'd like to do right now is introduce the man himself, the man of the hour, Just in America.
Stay down.
Are you sure?
Dean, we've known each other for years.
We have.
Years. We go back a long time. You don't have to stand up for me.
Well, I want to open the book
Okay.
on the book of life, you could say.
The Book of Justin.
Now, world's greatest American. What does that mean to you, just to start things off?
Freedom. Patriotism. And breathing through your nose.
Those three things. That's what makes America great. Now,
Because, Dean, let me, not to cut you off, you know as well as I do, you can't have mouth breathers in America. They make us look like a third world country.
there's too many mouth breathers, especially in the world of professional wrestling. I don't know if we'll get to professional wrestling here in this first installment. However, I did want to start out, a lot of people, they like the shoot interviews. They like to go behind the scenes and see what makes people tick, see what makes the man behind the wrestler. Now, of course,
And often, you and I have spoken of shoot interviews. And one of the things that we agreed upon
yes,
was they don't really delve into what makes the person tick. You hear behind the scenes stories, you hear,
beefs.
yes, beefs, problems, but you never hear how they got to that destination.
And that's what we're doing right here. Now, the first thing, and this could be a little troubling, but unfortunately we have to start from the very beginning.
Yes.
Now, your father, he was abusive, he was a drunkard, he used to take you to the woodshed quite often. I'm sorry I had to bring it up, but I think this is a good place to start, because I think this is really what shaped the man we know as Just in America.
At a young age, my brothers, I have two, an older and a younger. At a young age, my brothers were allowed to carry the family name. I, however, was not.
No, I wasn't.
My father said I was born weak and insignificant, so I had to earn my way into the family.
Now, what did you have to do to prove yourself into the family?
While some say, and by some I mean my father, some say I still have yet to earn that right. And
Even to this day?
it's a lifelong fight, Team.
Even with all your accomplishments in wrestling, outside of wrestling.
Though I was the former United States champion, though I did save America from terrorism, my father still feels that there's room to grow for me.
Now, I hate to bring this up, but of course, one of the things I feel has shaped you is what you have named the whipping post. Sorry.
Excuse me.
Take your time. I know how difficult this must be.
My father had what he referred to as the box of shame. I, like most children my age, when encountering a situation where there is no way out, to say. I would attribute something else. So in my mind, I made it worse than it actually was. In my mind, I was being lashed with thorn whips.
In your mind?
In my mind. In reality, it was a 4x4 square box at 4 feet high that my father would make me sit in for hours on end.
Now, what would this accomplish? Why a 4x4x4 box?
He said,
The lunacy behind this.
agreed. He said it would, and I quote, put hair on your chest. He would fill this box after I was in with mementos that a child carries, toys.
Hubba bubba.
Yes. But I was not allowed to play with them. I was forbidden.
So you're in the box of shame. You have all your childhood mementos.
Yes.
A freshly opened package of Hubba Bubba. And you couldn't touch it. You couldn't.
The term torture often comes to mind, which later in life, it set me free. It allowed me to go to a place in my training, which I'm sure we'll get to, that I could go to where I knew what was happening in reality was not as bad as what was happening in my mind. So to that extent, I thank my father. I thank him for what he did, for the position that he placed me in. As a child, I struggled with things, and I learned from them due to his ways.
Now later on in life, you championed landmark lawmaking in the state of New Jersey, making the box of shame illegal for parents to use.
Yes.
Sorry. We're almost through.
As a child, I often knew of the division, as it's called, in the state of New Jersey.
The division.
Some states call it DIFUS.
Where the youth and family.
Yes, Family Protective Services.
I'm not familiar.
Places that come out and
Protective.
protect children. Yes.
Protective, you say.
Yes.
How are they protecting the children?
I hear they do great work. I hear a lot of states.
Red tape.
I wouldn't even go that far because I haven't experienced it myself.
Bureaucracy.
I was told
Pencil.
as
pushers.
a child. I never called them because I was told by my father, if you do call them, they will place you in a house in Camden.
Oh.
And you will grow up peddling drugs for a living.
So years and years of psychological abuse plays on dark places that no child should be. Now, another obvious question that comes out of this is, how did wrestling play a part in your salvation as a young child?
As a child, I often, from underneath the door, I would watch the lights.
You weren't allowed in the same room.
As my brothers now. I would watch the lights flickering, and I would hear the announcers announcing the grades. And such as Hulk Hogan, the Macho
Hulk
Man.
Hogan.
These are wrestlers from my childhood.
Okay.
They would announce these people, and they would say that they were winners and they were champions and they were manly men.
Champions in the wrestling world,
Yes.
as well as life.
Yes, yes. And I would hear tales when I went to school of the great things these men did for charitable organizations, for families, children like myself. And I decided I wanted to be a champion. I wanted to be a hero. And perhaps that was my father's doing. Maybe that was part of his ultimate goal. But at the end of the day, when the show was over, my older and younger brother would open the door and they would play Virgil.
They would play Virgil.
Where there was a wrestler,
He was a manservant.
yes, for another popular wrestler, and they would make me shine their shoes, and if I didn't, they would stomp on me, hit me with chairs, plastic and foam belts.
Terrible abuse to a child. Now, later on, within a year of these Virgil games, you reached out to make a wish. You asked to meet Hulk Hogan. You
I
wound
got
up
Chief J. Strongbow.
Chief J. Strongbow. Now, what type of disappointment was that?
When I met Chief J. Strongbow, I thought I was meeting a proud, powerful, courageous Native American. In actuality, I met a drunk Italian man who got me served for the first time.
So Chief J. Strongbow takes a young lad of 11 or 12 years old, possibly 13, takes you bar hopping.
I was a little older. I believe I was 16. I was pushing the limit on the rides that I could get at Grand Adventure. I know that.
Oh, okay. So you were about this tall.
About, give or take. I wasn't exactly a strong, masculine teen.
Well, you were weak, as you probably said.
Yes, I was weak and frail. I went with Chief J to a houseboat where
Was it his houseboat?
I don't know whose houseboat it was. There was a woman there named Barb, and I remember her smoking Lucky Unfiltered, and she was yelling at one point at Chief J about the pink slips.
The pink slips. Did you ever find out what that was?
No, I always assumed that there was an argument over whose houseboat it really was, but I do know that at one point he grabbed me by the shoulder and he says, "Come here, lad." He spoke with an Irish accent for some reason, but he says, "Come here, lad. I have to teach you something." He says, "You're a man now." Which was
Really?
the first time I felt accepted. The first time I felt like I was something more than
Part of a fraternity.
yes. And this was after, and I believe I most likely, if my recollection serves right, I vomited probably 3 times by this point because we started drinking at noon. We were drinking peach schnapps. So he says, I'm going to bring you to manhood. At that point, I was scared.
I would have been too.
I didn't know what I was getting into until he opens the door, and here's Barb's daughter laying there. He says, "Time to get your dick wet, me lad."
Really? Complete with an Irish accent.
Italian American with an Irish accent.
Played a Native American. It's stories like this that shape the man we know as Just an American. We'll be back sometime soon with part 2 of this fascinating series, Just an American, World's Greatest American.